Nowadays, when you search for something online, you might notice that you're no longer simply served up a link or text-based search results. You're also often seeing image search results, and the reason behind that is alt text. So in today's video, we're going to share with you the best ways to optimize your alt text for search engine optimization. So first off, what is alt text? Well, alt text is also sometimes known as alt descriptions or alt tags, so you may have heard of it described that way. But essentially what it is the text that describes the images that you're placing on your website. So have you ever seen a website that's having some issues, or maybe your internet is being a little funny and the site isn't loading all the way? And your images aren't showing up, but what you do see in place of the images on a website are a couple of lines of text. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's the alt text. And alt text serves two major purposes. One, accessibility. So folks who have visual impairments are still able to enjoy your content thanks to alt text, and screen readers. Screen readers use the alt text to explain to them what's being shown on a web page, even if they're not able to fully see the image. The second purpose that it serves is search engine optimization, which is what we're talking about today. So search engines crawl websites and they pull in that alt text to help them understand what the images are all about and then recommend them to people when they search for them. There are three major things you'll want to keep in mind when writing alt text of your own. Number one, be descriptive. So keeping in mind that alt text isn't just for SEO, but that it's also for accessibility will help you understand how to be descriptive with your alt text. You want everyone to be able to access your content, including those who may have a visual impairment or those who have a weird website connection and might not be fully loading the image correctly. So keeping this in mind will in turn allow you to write really SEO-friendly alt text. So an example of this is placing a picture of a cup of coffee on your website. You could easily just create alt text that said coffee or cup of coffee, but instead consider using alt text like hot cup of coffee in a decorative mug. This is much more descriptive and will give both people reading your site and search engines a much better view of what that image is all about. Number two, brevity is key. So while you want to be descriptive, you want to make sure that you keep it pretty short and concise. Most screen readers cut off at about 125 characters, so anything that you write beyond that is really not going to have too big of an impact on your SEO. So a good rule of thumb here is to think of alt text just like a conversation. Read your alt text out loud a couple of times just to see if it really makes sense to you, if that's something that you would genuinely say in everyday conversation, and try to think of it as you're just explaining a picture to a friend. So use your normal everyday language and don't overthink it too much. You don't need to write a paragraph, just make sure it's descriptive but also brief. And number three, use keywords but don't stuff. So keyword stuffing is essentially the practice of putting a bunch of keywords into a certain location on your website so that it deceptively helps your site rank for that specific keyword. And it's a big no-no in general, but you don't want to do it in your image alt text either. So keep in mind what your site's keywords are so that your image alt text can in turn help your images in your site rank for that keyword, but don't just put them one after another. Example, coffee, 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 coffee is not a good image alt text, but instead you can make sure that the word coffee is in your image alt text alongside some other more descriptive words. Alt text is so important when it comes to accessibility and also when it comes to search engine optimization. So it's important that you're keeping these tips in mind so you're doing it right and helping your site rank for those great keywords that you want it to. So remember, be descriptive, brevity is key, and use your keywords, but don't stuff. If you have any other questions or want to learn more about us, make sure to visit us over at seahawkmedia.com.